Tua isn't holding back his disdain for his former coach, Brian Flores, any longer. The Dolphins quarterback opened up about Flores in an interview on the Dan Le Batard show on Monday, calling him a terrible person. Flores, who comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, was the Dolphins head coach from 2019-2021, and the team drafted Tua before his second season with the number 5 pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. Here's Tua on his former coach versus his new coach, Mike McDaniel.
To put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate. How would it make you feel listening to one or the other? And you hear it more and more, you start to actually believe that. Basically been, 2 years of training that out of not just me, but, a couple of the guys as well that have been here since my rookie year.
All right. Ryan, I live in the world where words are powerful, but I realize I'm not an NFL player and don't know what it's like to be in a locker room. I just want your reaction to the sound before we get into the debate.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, you have to coach different players in different ways if you want to get the best out of them. Some players can be told those sorts of things and use them for motivation. And there are other players who really don't care what you tell them. It's about them and the way that they're going to approach their job. Obviously, for Brian Flores, though, you saw that this wasn't working with Tua Tagovailoa. And maybe that's why you were courting Deshaun Watson or being asked to go on a boat and hang out with Tom Brady. But you got to love the one that you're with. And his reason, or the reason he is no longer the coach in Miami, is because he wouldn't adjust, because he wouldn't come off of what he thought was the right way to deal with this particular player being Tua Tagovailoa. And so, for as much as you want to say be authentic, for as much as you want to say be yourself every day and be consistent, sometimes consistency has to be able to come with adaptability. And because he couldn't, he was wrong in this sense. Now, I played for Greg Williams, who would absolutely dog cuss you every day, whether you were Sean Taylor, whether you were Ryan Clark, whether you were Sean Springs, it didn't matter. But we understood that, and we understood how to play through that. Tua Tagovailoa didn't, and that's why Brian Flores is now the defensive coordinator of Minnesota and not a head coach, whether it be in Miami. And to me, now hearing this or somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to come back to you on this. What do you think Tua's ceiling is with Mike McDaniel?
Tua's a top 10 quarterback. When you look at the way that Tua Tagovailoa is able to operate during the regular season so far, Tua Tagovailoa is a quarterback that understands everything that he's being asked to do. What I think is unfair about a little bit of what he said was that it was just the positive reinforcement that Mike McDaniel gives him. No, it's Mike McDaniel being an offensive genius, or at least understanding an offense for Tua Tagovailoa, he got to get the football out of his hand, and he does that. Now, it's when things switch up on him that keeps him, to me, from being higher than a top 10 quarterback, higher than 9 or higher than 10. Can he move outside the pocket and make plays? We haven't seen that. Can he go above and beyond the X's and O's? We haven't seen that. But as long as he got Tyreek and he got Achane and he got Jalen Waddle and he has players that are going to make plays when you put the football in his hands, and someone like Mike McDaniel who's actually run first because that's his background and allow Tua to get into the play action pass, he can be a top 10 quarterback to me.
Just don't tell me he is yet. That's all I'm saying. Don't tell me he is yet.
I need a pen.
Okay,
Yeah,
you heard what I said. Now, you look at me, Ryan Clark. Let me tell you something, man. This brother. Now, I brought up the fact that in less than 40-degree weather, the brother, they 0-11 over the last few years, right? I got another one for you. When the temperatures are 70 degrees or warmer, Tua is 23-4. When it is below 70 degrees, he's 6-16. Come on now. Now, Shannon. I mean, because me traveling, Shannon. I think it's apropos that I resemble a meteorologist from time to time. I pay attention to the weather conditions. You understand? Here's the deal, fellas. Did y'all know that the average temperature in January in Miami is 74 degrees? Check out the other teams, the other cities, I'm sorry. Baltimore, 43. Kansas City, 39. New York, 39. Cincinnati, 36. Cleveland, 34, Buffalo 31. So I gave you a stat below 70, and then I gave you another stat below 40, and you telling me that a dude that can't play in weather that's less than 70 degrees is a top 10 quarterback? I don't want to hear that. Here's the other thing, Ryan Clark, real quick. You know, Mike McDaniel, look, the man knows football, and I'm not. Listen, I don't know football like y'all do. I feel you. I'm a reporter. I'm a scribe. I cover it. I got it, okay? But damn it, I'm an expert at recording results. Now, Mike McDaniel, correct me if I'm wrong, RC. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shay. Last time I checked, I mean, damn. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, you got H-Head and the crew. I mean, how much do you need? Now, we saw the Kansas City Chiefs struggle last year. We know who coaching them. That's Andy Reid. All right, we know not to question his greatness, but didn't they look average? Didn't me and you, Shay, just finish lamenting the fact that Patrick Mahomes' QBR was 19th in the league? You know why? Because when you don't have weapons that show up and resemble weapons, you can look ordinary. And when you got people like the Cheetah, who's great, you end up looking great.
Tony the Tiger.
That's the difference. Let's not sit up there and act like Mike McDaniels is the second coming with the weapons he has. You better be those weapons and weather averaging at 74 degrees in January. Please, stop it. Go ahead, Shay.
If a coach constantly beats you down, even when you do something good, all he does is reinforce the negative. And I saw people in the comments, he being sensitive. You let your boss come in, let you go to your work, and your boss tell you every single day, you sorry, you know what, you no good for nothing, you better be glad such and such likely, because I would fire your ass if it was left up to me. And he tells you that every day for 2 years. Let me know how you gonna feel. Now you get a new boss come in and he can tell you what a wonderful job you're doing.
I'm gonna get him fired or I'm gonna try to leave. You see Brian Flores suddenly can't get a head coaching job, right? Yeah, that's why.
And that's how it works, Stephen A. Because now the new boss comes in and tell you how productive. Son, you're a really hard worker. Wow, I didn't realize you know X, Y, and Z. But I can see why you've been at this, why you're good at your task, and give you positive reinforcement. As RC said, and Stephen A., I told you earlier, you can't coach everybody the same.
That's the real.
You treat them all fair, but you don't treat them all the same.
Shay, Ryan Clark.
Yes.
There's a flip side to this. And you know what that flip side is, Shannon Sharpe?
What is it?
Brother need to be pacified? Is that what you're trying to say? You start quarterback in the National Football League?
No.
I'm not saying you saying that literally, Shannon. I'm just being rhetorical. I'm saying that ultimately, what did you and RC say? There's certain stuff you got to know how to deal with. Yeah, you're not going to be disrespected. That's true. But certain coaches are harder than others. It ain't about pacifying you. And they motivate through fear, insults, etc., etc. They play bully ball. You got to know how to deal with that. I'm saying what you're saying. And what RC was listening to, and I'm going to give it to you right here, RC, is it possible that what we saying is the brother need to be pacified? I like Tua. I like him a lot. But he got some stuff to prove. But you would think coming from Nick Saban, he would know how to deal with that.
Right, but think about Nick Saban. In Tua's first game, inserted into the national championship, he threw a pick. He walks off to the sideline, puts his arm around Nick Saban, and it's like, Coach, don't even trip. We're going to be okay. They had developed that relationship through recruitment. He knew Tua Tagovailoa's parents. Yeah. So when you know somebody's parents and you know how they're raised and you know how they're being talked to each and every day, you understand when I have to pull back or not, because when you are a coach, you're only as good as your players feel and as your players produce. I'm going to give you a different example. Okay. Mike Tomlin would have, it is what it is Wednesday. And here's what that meant. Whatever happened in the game, whatever we saw or whatever was going on, he was going to put it on the screen and be like, it is what it is. Troy Polamalu on it is what it is. Hines Ward on it is what it is. Ryan Clark on it is what it is. You name a good player on the Pittsburgh Steelers team who didn't do something right or who didn't show up on the play, you got on the screen. You know who we never saw on the screen? Ben Roethlisberger. And we all understood that. I can handle it. He can handle it. We all know how to deal with it, but he might not deal with it well. He might not respond to it well. And no matter how great your defense is, no matter how good your running game is, no matter how well you block, if your quarterback don't ball, if your quarterback don't feel good, you lose.
I'm not disagreeing, Ryan. I appreciate that. I thank you so much for it. I'm not disagreeing, but let's use that same example. We see Jalen Hurts now when we celebrate him, when he had to be pulled in favor of Tua because he was looking that bad in that national championship game. What if you Nick Saban, you damn right you go wrap your arms around him and vice versa, because that's all you got. In the case of Brian Flores, you were thinking, yo, I'm going to have my hand on Justin Herbert, and the damn owner made me pick you. So we can't ignore that.
Stephen A., real quick, let me just play devil's advocate. At the Fanatics, you hosted a talk with Tom Brady, right? I sat in the audience, I watched, it was riveting. And one thing you asked Tom Brady is you said to him, because Tom is such a team guy, team first, you said, what do you do in a situation when it's a me first guy, when it's kind of a diva guy? How do you handle that situation, them in the locker room? And do you remember what Tom said? He said, I don't freak out. I try to adjust to everybody. I try to connect. I try to learn about them. I try to figure out a way to deal with them because everybody's different. And I'm just saying, Tom is...
That's part of what he said, Molly. You left out the other part.
What?
The other part he said is, ultimately, the ass got to go. That's what he said. You left that out.
No, that's because you kept pushing it and pushing it. He said that he tries to connect with them.
I know.
And he tries to find a way.
I just talked about the last part.
He said he adapts to everybody on his team differently and tries to build a relationship with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
You have to. But that coaching style with Coach Flores, and that's why everybody can't play for Coach Belichick.
Yes.
You think, well, if he'd have had this guy or if he'd have had that guy, everybody can't take that coaching like Tom could. And the reason why Tom could is that's all Tom knew. Yeah. That was Tom's very first coach. Dan Reeves was my very first coach. He was a yeller and a screamer. That's all I knew. Hard-ass practices, 2.5 hours in pads on Thursday. That's what I knew. But if you get somebody that's never been coached like that or talked to like that, and you talk, I don't know if you noticed this, Stephen A., but I ain't going to call no name, but I've seen coaches fight. You talk to a grown man like that, you do realize that's a grown man. That man got wife, he got kids, he got a mortgage to pay for. Okay. You better be able to knuckle up. You talking reckless. Let's leave it on that note.
Let's leave it on that note.
Everybody the same way.